recording. So just call free just share or exercise 23.1. So there's at a certain temperature, the current through a conductor. So behind me, then you just conductor, so cost like coil, wire. Okay. Agus the Jeremy go 24 volts got fridge. Agus to 3 amp the flow current. So the flow got heart to I cause at 3 amps. So I get it in that circuit Karu a had in dozen. Was it okay, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's find the resistance of the conductor when the temperature of the conductor is raised, the potential difference across the current of 2 amps, a current of 2 amps to flow through it, find the increase in its resistance. So touch me off here, do we la frattiart here, do we? So the R codrum V is gun I. So these tests going to go voltage 24, is gun 3, I guess the test going to go frattiart to she omega. Okay. So she need rod 3 R here, Jesus. Right. R-tone, pretty okay. Now, rod to me question, ma aran chaguji do, then to R gola atar. So the V is can because of change in temperature. So these to 24 volts nyashin agata at flow agata guji do. So therefore it changes to a 12 ohm resistance. So calculation, find the resistance of the conductor when the temperature of the conductor is raised. So nis RJ even smuchi as or just listen to vinudif. Now the ardent to chart or shelter. Rot na tort with the increase in temperature tort needs more energy than the atoms vibratal in the conductor. I guess because there's more vibration, smuch in the atoms so like vibratal near the flow of electrons in the flow of fridge, there's more chance of the boiling atoms. So there's more chance of collisions and hence the resistance increases. Anything Kjaldif?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I guess sin kist over the she. Was getting me all free chart agus art or was you okay listen?
Grand.
Grand less arts art. Right. What's the fagima vi siskaji art jantagov to nui gaji carjig la genu. So fagima sin eguf la genu rubber ball in North watching okay. Agus an sin wat kestni be more around my fridge. Agus just around my fridge I rod do me go put it in ye me kind for around my fridge an experiment live. Around my fridge an experiments a text or live and then we're moberty finding wrong and you a bunch listen experiment and then he went back gene wrong and wada around my fridge na kestni show live. Agus an sin he can toss shirt I guess hojalit and wrong and sin he can Keshni art could you do ye new exercise 23.2 and then she'll make up to date. Watching okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just la hol fridge. So he live to art jant Swiss art janta. So my energy for exercise 23.1 Swiss kaharjig do so for your moira. Okay. So mar upper ball genig is SKG kaharjig. Okay. Now funny wrong and you we musical hall fridge. Kaima hall fridge in experiment electricity 3 live. I guess Kaima hall fridge in experiment or electricity 4. I guess experiment electricity 2. Okay, so the 3 experiments in the chapter are like genu. Okay. Now Chikshin we image back in PowerPoint. Just share lemon PowerPoint and live. So she had electricity experiment. It can do music out in ye. It can change. Okay, so my just call a husband video, but the head the way. For do an experiment, record them as this lab just like me and you big or deep. They're fairly straightforward. Okay, so 5 minutes from the screen share. You live a video. Would you add the mediation?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so make it as a video, Kinal da Lockma, to my just go room a rubber kind. So just okay, get ready. You know, say yeah, well, much you like explanation.
Ja, firmer vi om.
On your firm, you should add the firm we hoshawal.
Well, near the shovel anyway.
Would then you be allowed
Ja,
to?
film begin.
Right, so Roddy anyway just slowly
yeah.
must have freed your video, right? So Karimash as if we're Mahuse, seeing what I go, but I guess Roddy anyway just slowly must have freed you. All right. So just Roddy mentioned just from a cop down which Adam Machine Hoshal, not the video color or shul. Which Adam Machine Hoshal, huh? Hello? Which Adam Machine Hoshal?
Yeah, again, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So Rodri ma menu charge just from a pause. So you might just go an experiment is the text your experiment. So a measurement of resistivity of a material of wire. So the reason is quite in front has the piece of strong okay. So it is test when will formula for your front has cosmla R so shin and frattiart at a piece of strong. A is the cross-sectional area, so an ahar trascata done strong. So we mention divine, agus and chan, mohani miji play, we may just dominion shin the formula, agus fast the brehencha or L a fod at egg is strong. Okay, now it is shin the diagram and shin, so piece of wire good, so just in my position, just took my back. Second away, so make the diagrams in the text floor. To cross slip a good to pieces strong good to meter stick a good funyon fod agus to micrometer gauge and shin a good la ohmmeter for hunyon cross sectional area agus funyon 50 a ocean shin. Okay, so that's basically what we menu for the diagram and shin. Okay, so we shall settle the system shin go at a table. So just now machine even us. So at a tablet have a lum ohmmeter. To crack that clip galo ti wang gene ti wella to piece of strong chan find to tasha inte finalta usada shnacha. Yeah, so the strong inte finalta so gene to just mur do my love higla strong be good to mur rubber on inte bug agus obviously 10 micrometer gauge all and chan levision the hosh. Now make it as the ohmmeter ige womache tasha tosh 2.1 ohms. So there are lock machine 90 centimeters done strong shan. Who come a gujin multimeter a fuiden ohmmeter agus vi shatter doing 2.1 ohms or an ohmmeter. Okay. Now new run machine experiment in lab, so just kinda da harma le hella le hashbandif. So it is going to let a micrometer screw gauge. I'm gonna show domalum. Oh I saw ha. So we're into let the micrometer screw gauge, I guess, chain to my just go to pause as soon as bad pause. I guess right. So it is testing rubber jacket here, but merchant is making sure you focus. There's the strongest decent micrometer group. Micrometer screw gauge and shaw. Agus the rest of my dad and T Sean Shaw who said le a hosh. So you to shin quick na she where it trust and fought the strong a leak. Agus in basically wrote the my menu and the lab and shin to shin quick na she where it trust and strong. Agus very shin doing your diameter. And then ocean to my dad so make it to shin to a really big so it's a 0.19 millimeters. Like so to ten strong shin into big. I guess that's not the best camera work, but it is for this idea. They've done Ken Doyle experiment. Okay, so we made go rail I guess just lean with just the toasty a leak is in the text floor. So we're just going to stop it. Okay, so Ramage Rash, so Shinik a experiment every dawn earlier in a year he chaska shart. Okay, now what the enemy said wrong, so now with the midline the textúr agus mi just call úsáid values ó experiment the mahas pepper scruthy. So my hint to will text or show again to hand. So my aucanturshin, I guess my hint to guji electricity, I guess my hint to guji experiment Yana K Dartmo in the text lore. Okay, so my hint to in the lower experiments, go guji Yana K Dartmo. So show me and show. Okay, so it is a procedure. So it is the majority in punches of hen in ye can show agus court chegil and you hear le fretta has the strong shelter the shelters the strong a hosh agus court data you hear agus it is just creases a procedure jet at the end. So it is just called in tralumer test later kangle croctail clip o fad area this strong. Guji o meter agus is Trialacha micrometer screw gauge tosh tras tos and strang ag couple punche so quick na she funche agus is majadan in the 30 linusta. Okay, so make it as a hisi gebonchen so ten cross sectional area la obruma. So what's the boy higlas near the head so diameter of the hin da 3 so just run chat 3 where. Okay, so loction diameter 3 where. So average diameter average radius agus in to double to pi r squared to has a formula agus the Ableton ahar cross sectional area than shranga obruma. Okay, now the raha medenya lish can experiments of ejante. So make it to cost like kisti trin usai mid natari shan agus lina mit shahan chahanasha which is okay love. Okay, so mahashimij la diameter D1. So it is there's a diameter of wire in Sakasha is 0.19, 0.21, I guess 0.2. Now hooks up virtual so Kaimiji well if I are virtual so he can just head through research. So 0.19, 0.21, I guess 0.2. So my addition is that into 3 walks assumption. So scream is shayet. So to the goal reached tashin in Bikuruman Nasla millimeters, I guess the Shohan meters. So can they add with millimeters? Could you meters and shin match you?
Jirion?
Can they add with millimeters? Could you meters? Made by 10 to the power of
-3.
Shin, yeah, 10 to the power -3 because the millimeter in meter. Yeah, so by 10 to the power of -3. So here can 0.19 by 10 to the power of -3. So screeching is in the text function. So 0.19 by 10 to the power of -3. In here like 0.21 by 10 to the power of -3 as in like 0.2 by 10 to the power of -3. So Muhammad is just like ran the receiver is average doing the 0.2 by 10 to the power of -3. So radius 0.1 because obviously the diameter is double the radius. So meridian da you with 0.1 by 10 to the power of -3. Now reached calculator below. So chocolate then your calculator average area of the modulation. So just now and even this where a calculator or a camera. So to me for 0.19, 0.21, 0.2, but it should average in the 0.2 by 10 to the power of -3. And therefore the average radius is 0.1 by 10 to the power of -3. Now question is the calculator pi r squared. Frank will this able to figure out doing for your average area.
And Neil calculator lumsa.
Joe, what can I go to? Na Matthew, na Rashid, then you be.
Oh, Neil.
No calculator. From about your to Kun, he stayed with him, so I'll be back in 2 seconds. Just use my calculator.
What page is that on? 182. Cheers.
Right. So pi r squared. So it is just a shift pi midi fa geogun 0.1 by 10 to the power minus 3 agus squared. Right, so variation doing 3.14 by 10 to the power minus 8. Meters squared. Okay. And then you okay, listen. So 3.14 by 10 to the power of minus 8 meters squared. Okay. So to mid locking cross sectional area, okay, so we just go to a funny piece of wire that's wrong. Okay, so just one piece of wire. So what to get a follow mention. So the following data was recorded. The resistance of the wire is 32.1 ohms. So resistance of the wire now, just formula shown resistance of wire. So reach vision 32.1 ohms. Okay. Now, Rudda Harlan is te rub murder my nurtum goes in the crocodile leads. Te usually rub bug resistance and usually which are rud near tat for 0.4 ohms na merson. So because near just a kesha higlingen the run is a label a journal we shall have like 0.4 ohms. So resistance of leads could just 0.4 ohms. Is shahanshan. I guess obviously Homer definition resistance of leads and the wire, which are 32.5. Okay, so raised to the energy to the tosha for to take the crocodile leads. I guess the bunch of them has a total resistance. Okay, what's in salary Hanaye? So raised just listen has been 0.4 ohms, I guess 32.5 ohms. So therefore resistance of wire is 32.1 ohms. Now, shin piece of cord the left frettiert into ard, whereas it can be ogums to see lab being frettiert 2.1. Okay, minus 0.4, so we'll take 1.7 ohms, so fairly big. Now the length, so Jane thought to be so length of wire was 90.1 centimeters. So shin 0.901 meters. So it reached could have 0.901 meters in shin. Then cross-sectional area going 3.14 by 10 to the power of minus 8. Okay, I guess it is to me just kind of resistivity in shin obru ma. Okay, so it reached could have the formula in shin. So it reached all back read the formula. Then frettiart. So to row, using this symbol row for your frettiart resistivity, cosmla R A isgan L. So this test going to go R so had 2.1 ohms. Midifa cross sectional area 3.14 by 10 to the power of minus 8. I guess the raised to majoranta 0.901. Okay, so my addition is the calculator 32.1 Midifa previous answer I guess the answer 0.901. I guess variation fretty are doing a resistivity Pretta has that doing that so just screen my heat and show that 1.1 I guess just will round off to 2 decimal place by 10 to the power of minus 6. Now, Jane unit at the medical of a good set for you resistivity ohm meter. What's an okay again then you? Yeah. I guess shouldn't experiment. That's basically what the test experiment. Now, Tí bhfuil couple boxí san seo tus de geirt é dhéanú fanniu leo mór wires different, fanniu conductors different. So bhí sé geirt cinál de mú copper wire agad agus betir aluminium wire agus rudí eile mar sin. So hígad é dhéanú fanniu wires different. And then now hígad é dhéanú fásta fanniu fadní different leis wire cearna, leis fadní different leis fritiad different agus rís to the Appleton average value of resistivity in sinna obrú má mósin tún wire cearna. But is go leor é dhéanú fanniu cinna bhain. Well, sin sáilir ag hanna dáilean experiment sin dhéanú, yeah? Yeah, so Merkin to say rud a hannig níosa ard level in 2014. So just lahal free gasted. So the following is part of a student's report of an experiment to measure the resistivity of a nichrome wire. Now the resistance and length of the nichrome wire were found. The diameter of the wire was measured at several points across its length. The following data was recorded. So name an instrument to measure the diameter of the wire and describe how it is used. So Frank, would you get a free chin? Now Joe, then you be go. So name an instrument to measure the diameter of the wire.
Micrometer.
Micrometer screw gauge, yeah. Agus dá úsin tú is current tún. Now, outner to the gusage micrometer screw gauge, tá sé táhairta go settling to Swiss headway go locking to zero reading because carwin you bhíonn siad céad fan gate crin. So kite carwi bishop at your 0.1 millimeter off na right now. So kite starting error the lock she said to we. So into question shot a dog you mark a golf on honey. So kite so smooth your into the quart to kaya funche. So every hidden nanium beautiful 3 work for the honey and then kite 3 funche elle is screw sheets. So in 3 funche to the screw sheets. So race just died to dog you mark a golf on honey. Every hint to the screw sheets the micrometer screw gauge. Can they open to a Lockington zero error head the way. So the hunch there. So screw sheets is 0 error. And then current in strong is the clamp, agus lock sheets a tosh. Point canna wane, when you 0 error a mohas and chun, agus te tras tosh and strong over it. Agus ever a dawn shen, yenny to shen, quick na she wear agus lock and tune men. Ocean solid gahanna ye? Yeah. Okay. Okay, now. Why was the diameter of the wire measured at several points along its length? Due the world doesn't match you. Can we go to minution in native? So why was the diameter of the wire measured? Why was the diameter of the wire measured at several points across? So till we toss a wire, let's your micrometer screw gauge couple of edge. So because nivin ahan wire unit. In armor so faculties they're not uniform, and because not all wires are not uniform, kaitu a hosh is average L. Go ahead in at the wire fiente big. So it is la Jenny Kenche goal sha uniform lockamage. But soon as frigate there's niel achan strong in armor. I guess Marialna will should in armor kaihar a toast done. Trust hosh a lock a couple of edge against the main L. You understand, Kiel? Yep. Okay. Now, it reached using the data calculate the value of resistivity of nichrome, so Romachin, against and Shen, give 2 precautions that should be taken when measuring the length of the wire. So, raise method the goose at ruler, avoid parallax, against Jane will precaution to be a hocklet decision. So, it reached make it to or the accuracy was in Shen. Check for 0 error on the micrometer and make sure there's no kinks, so she can need that tower. Jen Kenchina will kinks a piece of wire. Now, Rod the Harlan da wires at the fiente final to costing can you come to the lab and shen. Tasha ain't to forest kinda da lupianu agus na Harrington shen of current kink book is just a wire. Now, be mad as in a hashvendiv na himid back in the scholar. Hopefully, the kind for the Dash have got back in March, so maybe back by mountain shin a husband. So shin a year rather than shin. Jin Kenche go strong taught, so intas Jira gan kinks near to Toshe fought and therefore we're sorted. Okay. Now, kinder jiggling percentage error in is fair by greater lengths will reduce the percentage error in length measurements. Agus the race avoid parallax, so to neart rodin sin na higla to just for your accuracy. Okay. When we go okay, listen experiment, we'll catch sneak in your B.
It's grand.
So it's probably one of the easiest experiments at recursive. Ask going into come your formula. Now, I think what a formula in la file is in the text store. So just double check them as in Virginia Kinche. What just is the text store? Electricity, file te. There's a screeching earlier in Shaskahin. So it is, got the Holgogene formula, Tesco data general resistance, cross-sectional area against the length L, against the Doubleton Castellano. So probably one of the easiest experiments at recursive. Okay. Which will we do Kayla Hollerigogene head canella?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So a head canella Merkin to the text or so sin resistivity agus image go ber kesnation so in machine and wada. So my image ration SQG experiment electricity number 3 in Shaw. So to investigate the variation of resistance of a metallic conductor, what temperature? Okay. So Merkin has a setup and shin I shilim go room a video that setup Dave. So just you machine Dave in second. Just human video, Dave. Investigate the variation of resistance of a metallic conductor. Okay. Now, through my setup book, the shot these, so my husband's video shot Dave. So screen share is investigation. Right, share. Now, it is to show. Which are the videos in here? Yeah, it's usually got now regional form would be so I'll just explain what do my recension. So Merkin to or the reach or the text load. I guess temperature page 1 like when of a metallic conductor what temperature. So yeah, na kid up more quick. Okay, so shouldn't get the experimental or Lena K. Dartmouth quick in shan. So Mercator Lena K. Dartmouth quick shan wrote the Cheshman Union shan. So research investigation at the variation of resistance of a metallic conductor, what temperature. So really wrote it on to the Giddy Cheshman can atten the fretty art to there. Now, shouldn't set up from just in report and shan. Just back second. So raised to get each an Ardian and Fretiart lay chart. Okay. Now, so making to a graph or board the Lena Kid of McQuiggan and Jean to go out in the Fretiart lay chart. So the Remer in the tart to us, Ardian and Fretiart. Marialgo only small energy, more kind of the vibrational energy, atoms, and therefore there's more collision there than electrons of flow or free. Okay. Now, make it a diagrams in a screen. So, recent thermometer of good and show is the boiling tube, metallic conductor. So, the metallic conductor and show doi is set on just for now be strong metal looking agus kind of wire my chart piece of with that. So, my preliminary show modern setup a husband. So, the rest just brew my portion. So make it as a jacker show I can, but it is so middling boiling tube and shaw. Okay, so the boiling tube and shaw now is this a boiling tube to piece of which at nurse and shaw. I guess heart and them with just coil wire wrap to heart. So that's your metallic conductor. Okay, so the shouldn't wrap all the way she's just as strong. She's Gene Bun and shaw. Okay, now the shin counts and shen to count to Gene ohm meter and shaw. I guess it reached to thermometers the in shaw going faster. So just brew my planes but you add the equal robot first and just to menu. Now the Bunsen he's in shaw going for in Eske here. Now to just in Eske going. Now can you come near the hay into the Eske it hits by convectional current. Okay, so So make it to híste bon, chain bon agus flow less as gene team structure back in nursery, so change a heart and convectional currents. But is this a test tube new harmage a is jahan iske? Rot the harmage glycerol na paraffin liquid. Can it be done virch? Now a reason is glycerol na paraffin liquid is this a boiling tube because change in a leaky gnam here and there. Niel shall cost iske, whereas chain iske in conventional currents. So it is chain, so merkant is a glycerol to gene to grind because this a test tube and show. So let's glycerol to this a test tube. Change in leak ag gnam here in the Northern iske chain and show chain the glycerol leak ag gnam here in the agus Jefferton shan. Now neuro gas be gods a skull. Near setting shots as soon as they have, but it is just to go to glycerol sensors may just a meaning coil, which you add the kinal than wire ekel the wogan say agus reached and wire chart needs ma as a 10 wooden shot agus there's a connector zogun gg back a genometer which the liu 4.6 ohms. So sin a frettiart at in nicrom wires and it is the in the tube. Okay, was in solid again, yeah. So just for this idea, they've done setup. Because the reason you made back in the scholar definitely kind couple of wrong again in the experiment show. Okay. JV Jantum or me kind from temperature and so it reached the thermometers the is the hinaki leshe glycerol lad chart the glycerol hosh. I guess it reached to majad and chart and shin a hosh. I guess a frettiat. I guess you have to the reamer in the charts was rahin. 30 and show, but in your range system mention like but you great 4.6 ohms so could you bet you 5 ohms. So running at tasha bre bug. Okay, what's in solid again? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So it reached shouldn't be 0 tons. So then set up good to ohmmeter good. I guess 10 metallic conductors the in show good. I guess the just call a huge and source. So the ancients chain the glycerol leaky gnam here and the hence a metallic conductor leaky gnam here. I guess the race chaftunchen the rare hin and chart source. So to majad and chart the hostless thermometer to majad and frettiart ekel a gardu faster. Okay, I guess in the experiment. So the race starts to offer temperature, resistance and lead to these can you come usually 0.4 ohms. Resistance of conductor and lead, I guess, and resistance of conductor generation. Okay, I guess it reached find my definition in user experiments. So I suppose funyon hodjala funyon darn wrong in you Joklov experiment 2018 and so Raymond Fried, I guess just usai mid natati show, I guess tiny current natati show is sha in the table show and show. I guess tiny image graph and so. Was it okay? Now, would you get the arm say you live or would you now day you and then Laura will live in weather? Like it's come along. Do you healing your pain?
Cool question, which
Page 190. So make it to
yeah, really hard.
Yeah, Vilas art higher level, yes. So make it to a student investigate the variation of resistance R of a metallic conductor with its temperature theta. Okay, so the student recorded the following data. So show a chart. So at 20 degrees between ohms like 4.6. And therefore, as the chart got switched into 4.6 ohms, this could be 6.1 ohms. Now, Arish should describe with data for label diagram how the data was obtained. So Arish Neurogid and diagram showing a had in the hashband is this an experiment. Okay. Down the part in Kish, draw a suitable graph to show the relationship between the resistance of a metallic conductor and its temperature. Now, a chain differ at the Natati showing show, I guess Natati at La Linus Jahagun, Gominishka. And show is Nielis Ogun gene resistance signal lead. So I take a corrosion fucking we here. So just function blank. Screeches a temperature, screeches a resistance EC bond. So just fuck a yeah column and show blank. But rather wall and div nerd mata to honey experiments again a kesho yenu instant experiments or the leaving chart. Connie Thula Ma Carwi and I said that the resistance of leads was 0.4 ohms. So Kaitu Shinu when you has a hand value. So just Connie Thula Ma function. Okay. So Miss you hen out the Shinenu or would you get the arms all Friedliff?
Glad to do for each.
Yeah, no bother. So just try me Fried. So Mercamage are so Leni must shan show faster or my textures he lives in Rod Kearney. So it is Malacamage temperature. Okay, so the temperature then we call 20, Siskaji 80, and then was assistant 10. So I get top page and show go 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. I think I got Siskaji 80 and so. Okay, Siskaji 80. Now it's 30 art in ohms, so 4.6. So he's to get Bon and Shaw 4.6. Now, Reish Murahan Medinula resistance of lead 0.4 ohms all the way trasna. So just the Michael Charlie Nisha Sef go Goromis Salaba. Okay. So my this is just 0.4 ohms funny the lead. So to the summation lesson, so to the fall quick ohm into conjunction. And then therefore to the full 4.6. Okay. Do you can wrote to my attention?
Yeah.
So it's just because 0.4 ohms from in the leads, agus and then the hometu shin la 4.6 gibon you to quick. So just lean shan the value on the 30. So to make you call 4.9. So just lean me just show here to it. 4.9, 5.1, 5.4, 5.6, 5.9, look at 6.1. So for you in the startation, just sum me 0.4 loss you to 5.3, 5.5, 5.8, 6 ohms, you to 6.3, I guess you to 6.5. Okay, so reach make it to the values to Majolina for Honey experiment. But you in add in diagram hard just understand
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's no good. Rod to Mishgolianichan is the Migola Harnch graph. Okay, so to Mishgola Harnch graph or a whiteboard and show. Okay, so he lives here yanu at a head page or a page on show. Okay, so to Mishgola Harnch graph to show us. So it reached yani Mashir or McLaren show. So I'm just going to walk shot Masa Hassan. So at the end too, so she's a two. I guess Tras and Bon. Okay. Now, so the graph had the temperature. So it reached the temperature. So we reached she's a chart. Go only label the graph. So chart in degrees Celsius. Okay. I guess in short temperature kind of frattiart in ohms. Okay. So it reached Kedrod the units, and that's you to go only 3 work when you should yen. There's a harness to the graph and the experiment. Okay. Now, then because this in tens, so this in tens, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 60, 80. Oh, go in your discussion, trust and bond, go in your discussion contract. Trust and balance shot. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, I guess this could be 80 degrees because we got this in tens. Okay. Now to frontier to Gallo 4.6, this could be 6.1. So I'm just in 0.5. So here, da, 3, keher, quick, she, I guess this could be 6.5. 6.5 ohms. Okay. I guess it is just markerless chat. So touching the job here to we 20 la 4.6 ohms. So 20 la 4.6. So shin. Timid file 30 la 4.9. Timid file 40 la 5.1. Timid file 50 la 5.4. 60 la 5.6. 70 le 5.9. Agus I cyn journey 80 le 6.1. Okay, agus sy'n rhaid to the graph col fe costless. Okay, wyt ti gyrru cwbl o bom ti las yn I enni? Now we're into that trailer. Agus turn line of best fit could you mull to easy get bon and show. Let's just go to such lower show and show. Agus turn shot the graph. Line of best fit. So now this in Jantic just to shout to.
Much sure Anderson.
So that's a Ray Joe wall.
Yeah.
Frank, that's a Ray.
I'm Mr. Ray Boston.
Matthew Ray, Roshi.
Yeah,
What the Ray or what to get the bomb?
that's all right.
Right, so the graph Jantic again, yeah. Right. So make it to say our page Karen and that's just lot for each couple of kiss journey. So use your graph to estimate the resistance of the metal conductor at a temperature of minus 20 degrees. So at least because this are at minus 20, what the height is the energy let the graph now kite to extend a more at a t-shirt. Now but in the right you go boys, but at least is the exam it always pays and kiss the legal you had the way. Shall I hint to the so at least it's in minus 10 degrees and 0 degrees, I guess in minus 20 degrees. So what the major question to me getting graph of honey to go. Could you get in chess room honey with any Linus and Jira? At least could you give bullish and punches on show. Okay, so at least your value, so we have a trust and show to make Bolwick 3.5 ohms. Okay, so there's your estimate the resistance of the metal conductor at a temperature of minus 20 degrees. So at least the resistance is 3.5 ohms. Is it okay, listen?
Yeah.
Now, third chance, estimate the change in resistance for a temperature increase of 80 degrees. Now, because a graph are doing 20 80, right? But then you require to a change in temperature of 80 degrees. So that means we got 0 and shaw, 80 and shaw. So it requires to the change in resistance. So raised to change in resistance, so sin fad o sin, she's could ye net wellish and graph and sin. So sin or to me quarty. So to me boiling charge say 4.1. So to sin boiling 4.1 ohms. Against the charge boiling 6.1 ohms. So there's a change in temperature of 2 ohms in 80 degrees Celsius. We shouldn't take you again in you, when you catch part of it a door. Estimate the change in resistance for a temperature increase of 80 degrees Celsius. So there's a change in resistance of 2 ohms. Okay. Part of it 3, can journal explain why the relationship between the resistance of a metallic conductor and its temperature is not linear. Now, in the case of Tesha, in the graph on short Tesha linear, but T was a retention, it's not linear. Now, she can make an STG of the edition. Mean to package the accuracy, heat and water in the beaker slowly to ensure that the liquid does not become much hotter than the conductor. Use cluster in the boiling tube to ensure good thermal contact between the conductor and the surroundings. Measure the resistance of the leads with an ohm meter by connecting the crochet clips together. Subtract this value from all resistance measurements. Well, Tesha linear, but doesn't he was I guess is not linear. Well, then you be add the figure what duration. So the resistance of a conductor depends on its temperature. When a metallic conductor is heated, the atoms vibrate more and make it more difficult for electrons to pass through the conductor. As they collide more frequently with the metal. So So this increase in resistance, the resistance in this experimental investigation, the variation of metallic conductor with temperature will be carried out. The resistance increases linearly with temperature. So a graph similar to the one below should be obtained. So nothing T will a question igibon. I'm actually a remarking scheme this in Jane Flegreviaki function because it is linear. Explain why the relationship between the resistance of a metallic conductor and its temperature is not linear. Like it's Tesha linear, so Jenshin Moran Kial do this anyway. Right, so 5 questions.
Is it because once it goes over a certain temperature, it's not linear anymore? Like
yes, oh yes, because what the Harlan is the wire will start to heating up, and therefore it'll melt, and therefore the resistance will just increase rapidly. I guess and then nearly in chat will decrease rapidly. So te at a one Mahincha had a 80 yeah, I suppose Hockla screw that the energy killed in us. Mahinta's a rocky then to wire go to a certain extent goes a go very rocky, and therefore it could melt, and therefore the resistance, chachin resistance. Yeah. Or it'll increase obviously in the range of 80 it'll increase far quicker with an increase in temperature. So has this got 100, 110, 120 actually in agitation that it'll increase rapidly, and hence it cannot be linear. So I suppose that would make sense. Right, we'll go with that. Was it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so with a large increase in temperature, Jeremy, about 100 to 200 degrees, change our raw gas, and therefore there'll be a larger increase in temperature. Okay. I think Fagamich want to look at so was you get all free could you get the experimental? So a is the change in resistance due to a thermistor. So shin page 191. So make sure we're 191. So show I had the experimental. So just to got free 3 experiment in you, but this is fairly straightforward. I'll just go rubber show more. So I canale at least can set up exactly Merigerna. A being time shot to make use of a thermistor. Now market this graph thermistor, la increase in temperature chitin and fritiart inta gasta. So the rémer in chart west chitin and fritiart inta gasta near to the gusage thermistor. Okay. So reached setup identical as you can journal a bakewell with gusage thermistor. Now I think a lot of video done thermistor talking to the lab just to make it a hashbandif. So just should do a couple of seconds by mouth and video in a hashbandif. Thermistor. Let's just bring my pause and share the video again.
No.
No, go for it. Found you. Share the desk you skull like that. They can.
Yeah.
So make it to you might just hold my thermistor to my just find camera near focus I'll do. So just make it as the thermistor steam shaw, frigid gel and shaw. I guess the ball punch with the tube more fat done. Just now when I Steve so the tube more fat done. I guess 10 connector you get top when you that crocodile leads a plug all the in camera out of focus rubber. So make it as a bar and so to just connector and shin when you that crocodile leads a horse jahan. I guess the reach V wire skull all the way she's good bone. The focus so she intention all the way she's team bone. I guess natural bond the thermistor. Was okay? So she just packed her door. Not the best of videos, but British idea digit and thermistor costless. You know, not really electronic component, but into bug a staff and circuits big bread or chart. Okay, so it reached to giant exactly in doy here and listen experiment journal. Locking to fritiart, I guess locking to chart, I guess it reached just tangent and graph. Okay, so to my gun so it reached locking past paper experiment. So Mohammed la 2010 higher level. We say mid the valuation I guess tanya mid graph from the honey. Okay, so it reached just on the texture right mid right here in the reach. So to me got this 20 SSG 80 doi here in the graph journal right. So it reached just on the lower or page 193 Tashi la 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 40, 50, 60, 70, SSG 80. Okay. Now, resistance of leads, we'll stick to the Vioquin 0.4 ohms. So could have 0.4 all the way through it. Okay. So we shall get this in a health. Okay. So in addition to it, scheme is the values and shown. So to me call la 2000, 1300, so 2000 and shot. 1300, 800, 400, 200. $90 is 40. Okay, I guess the race you to 1999 or 2000.4 go minus 2000.4, 1300.4. 800.4, 400.4, 200.4, 90.4, I guess 40.4 in between, because chitin resistance won't you mass. So this should I lean to shadow table. Okay. And you okay, listen?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just try me I guess tiny image graph that's in this faster. Okay. So the headline of tiny image share graph. So it reached charts as a two. Or chart tracing go minuscule. So chart in degrees Celsius. I guess the 30th inch are in ohms. Okay. So reached can chart a gold trasne egg so Mahashimage egg 0 degrees, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, I guess 80. Okay. Now, Kaitivi Kuruma, we got Suskaji 2000. So, we hin.3 quick. Styrmischen Mille. Hin.3 quick. So, sin Ville. But the J box agif is this a text or J box agif. Hin.3 quick shart art J. Yeah, so he gave us in boxy the quick in. So, to the goal, yeah, head. K head. She head. Art head. Mille yeah head. Mille K head. Mille she head. Mille art head. Agus yeah Ville. Okay. Agus in the fratty art. So, 20 degrees to magic 2000 ohms. So, 20 degrees, so it's 2000 ohms. So, it's in the hill punching. 30 degrees, magic 1300. 40 degrees, 800. 50 K head. 60 head. 70, so just ní slúna le bally. Agus I kind of like 40. So it's in the graph and agus the reach he gets in a hard just yeah. So curve. Agus in the curve and agus in the graph and so it reached make it to it Kishtandy can use in 2010. An experiment to investigate variation of resistance or for thermistor with the temperature theta, a student measured the resistance at different temperatures. So reached draw a label diagram of the apparatus used. So reached just equipment to set as this Mertesa diagram. How was the resistance measured? Joe, how did we measure the resistance? Did you do so much?
Ohm meter, is it?
Ohm meter, yeah, perfect. Just by connecting an ohm meter. But be kurima to share walk off and then so probably ohm meter would give you full marks, okay? Describe how the temperature was varied. So the temperature was varied by heating up the thermistor in a boiling tube of glycerol and then the heat in tishke chain of glycerol and therefore adding a chart, okay? Now, using the recorded data, plot a graph to show the variation of resistance of a thermistor with the temperature. I guess there's the quid mark. Egal when you just modus and so do we kiss journal. Use your graph to estimate the average variation of resistance per Kelvin in the range of 45 to 55 degrees. Right. That's okay, because the 45 to 55, so just he might can find ohms, right? So 45 degrees, so just you be easy 45. I guess lock a reading. Nisig 55. I guess lock a reading. I guess raise them to the variation in resistance. Okay, so variation to me got.
I found this on the web for variation in resistance. Check it out.
Sorry, you're going to get certain. I should not hump off. Right, we'll show okay, listen. Gin value for your funny punches on show. So roughly, which are like 580, 590. Gin is 580. I guess he's the punches show. To me, roughly 440, 450, betcha. Or 250 go Miliska. 250. So variation, the goal of the graph here, branch gene accuracy to it. So Atensha by 330 ohms. Okay, so I guess variation 15 marks that you're the graph. Is reached Najin Jarmut label, I guess label and faster. Okay. Question in the investigation, why is the thermistor usually immersed in oil rather than in water. So reached rather than chain all this gradually again here now, whereas in all whereas in iske change in current I guess change lock on rubber malls iske to get the way, but then even chache 18 to gasta sinne different iske agus all whereas chain iske into gasta agus into jacker na toasty legal for you 20 30 40 50 60 whereas la all to that day he go mal gradually a legi gnam here in the as the how these fossen in the toasty a laku you sin keldif yeah okay so sinne 3 experiments in Jantan you my dream sin Jantan you but he live here in the procedure skew ma be quite use your chance at the show I guess need midterm break okay experiments 3 experiment Josh complete on my hexit and user the exam paper ask a jigging tune ask a going to come near a graph I guess going to come near a setup done experiment okay I guess shouldn't give you my giddy Aljanta revenue or my dream and mention Aljanta but it is merkin to the text lore and us merkin to the text lore so the Krenigi Siskaji Kaharjig so the electricity 3 jantagun the electricity 4 jantagun I guess the electricity 2 jantagun or resistivity so chain what the focus so shin 3 experiment in solution so modern shin yenimage art goji da yek I guess in shin rhyme afraid you Wheatstone Bridge live yenimage kissney shin I guess be with Ray chart and shot or section shin okay
Aye.
so that's it will kissney then you be any questions no right and then you're okay right that's it so you shouldn't agree when you knew just Creamy exercise 23.1 for your Moira and Rymit Reach in Moira against Jenny with your Wheatstone Bridge and then Creamy with Nikish near Wheatstone Bridge their Dean and then she the chapters in Jantagun this be with Rayla Tasha the chapter in chart and sugar okay
Right, come on, I get my shit.
okay slant
I get plan.